Now, there was a contentious stuff in the Arsenal Chelsea game, which we'll get onto. Liverpool won at the weekend, though, and there was more. I wouldn't call it VAR controversy because the VAR can't get involved with two yellows, but it was more refereeing controversy where Kanate wasn't sent off for another yellow card. From your point of view, Roms, as a Liverpool fan, do you think Everton were hard done by? Was it another decision that you think has damaged the team?
Look, I'm going to be completely honest, right? I'll say first and foremost, it was a yellow. And one thing I want to say on Kanate, right? He does this quite often. And by the way, overrated doesn't mean bad. But I've been saying, I feel our fan base overrate him a bit too much because he commits when he doesn't have to. He's a bit rash. Sometimes when we play a player on side, we have to then rely on Allison to pull out an amazing one-on-one save. But it's normally him who's not in synchronization with the rest of the other back four. I just feel with Kanate now, I know centre-backs tend to peak a bit later, but he needs to iron these things out of his game. He has to, because the two yellows he got, he did not have to commit them fouls. There was cover behind him. And I know if I'm on the receiving end, and let's say Salah or Diaz or Nunes are on the counter, and a player obstructs them and he's already on the yellow, I'm going to want them sent off. And a big indicator was the minute Kanate was let off, Klopp subbed him. That was the biggest indicator. Klopp even said, you know what, we got lucky. Come out at the end of the game, and he admitted we got away with one there. And I do feel, and I was saying to Don, I was watching the game with Don, if Kanate does go off, a lot of Liverpool fans disagree with me. I think that game ends 0-0. Yes, we had a lot of the ball, but we weren't creating enough clear-cut chances for me. You had Harvey Elliott. Him and Nunes were amazing once they came on, by the way. I'm not Elliott's biggest fan, but I will say he is playing excellent this season. And I think that's his role. There's certain players, and I don't know if you agree, Staffy and Terry, I'm a big fan of Garnacho, but I feel like when he starts, he doesn't impact the game. When he's introduced, he impacts the game. And I think that's
100%.
Elliott for us. Certain players have their roles, and I think he should be used as an impact player. But we were shooting from distance. Even with an extra man, we were shooting from distance. We weren't creating clear-cut chances. But I said to Don, the minute Diaz won the penalty for us, we'll either win this 2 or 3-0. I knew the floodgates would kind of open, but Everton then brought on Beto, and I think I can't remember who else they brought on to kind of stretch the game, but Kropp countered that with his substitutions. But I will actually want to speak on Ashley Young as well, because some people might say his second yellow was soft, but this is an experienced 38-year-old man that has played for 2 of our rivals. You can't make 2 challenges like that in quick succession. You just can't. At Anfield, he's supposed to be the most experienced player in that team. Against a club like Liverpool, you want to stay on the field for the duration of the game. But for me, that was a second yellow. I think Kanate should have been off, and Ashley Young rightly deserved to go off. But speaking about the performance, I actually feel our defence and our midfield were fine. It was the attack for me, and that's quite alien with us. But I don't think we were as potent as we normally are, because there was a situation in the first 10 minutes, and Gravenberch, by the way, I think he had an excellent game. But we had a passage of play where Gravenberch played it straight into Salah, and he's kind of scuffed it. I think we scored then. That puts us in good stead for the rest of the game. But I just felt like we were keeping the ball side to side, but we weren't really penetrating Everton too much. And there's a bit of credit for Sean Dyche, because I feel like he implemented a game plan, and they actually stuck to it. I think Everton didn't play as bad as what some of our fans think, because some of our fans think if Kanate was to get sent off, we still would have won that game. I'm sorry, I reckon we would have bombarded them, but we still wouldn't have found a breakthrough. But I want to big up a few players. Gravenberch being one of them, Nunes and Harvey Elliott, and McAllister. And the reason why I want to big up McAllister is because he's come through a lot of criticism from our own fan base of recent. But I watched the game back again, and he's had probably, if not his best performance this season. I think he was excellent in that 6 role. Simicast as well. I said, look, he's now come in, you signed that new deal. You need to stand up and be counted for, because you need to now show your relish in this challenge, because we have no one else in that left back position, and he showed up as well. But at the end of the day, the inevitable did happen. Whether you think it's fair or not, we did beat Everton. I mean, you're speaking about fans, Terry, that season with Aston Villa when we lost. I think with fans, they haven't beat us since 1999 with Kevin Campbell. So we always do beat this Everton team. But I just feel our attack wasn't as potent as it normally is. But at the end of the day, we got the job done. We kept the pace with City and Arsenal. And that is all that matters at this stage. I think our next 3, I know football's not paid on paper, but we should be getting 9 points out of 9. Honestly, I think it's Forest, Luton, and Brentford, I believe. Then international break, then we have City. So we should be putting so much pressure on Arsenal, City, and yes, Deji, I'll just include you for this one, and Spurs. I'm I'm happy with the result. I think the performance could have been more better, but overall, got 3 points. That's all that matters.
I mean, I think what else, just to add, is that I've spoken to many Liverpool fans, and they've said that the reason why they won't win the league this season is because of the defense. The defense is not really as strong as it was. And also, when you look at how Pickford pretty much sniped Van Dijk, ever since that sniping from Pickford on Van Dijk has not really been the same. But I think what may actually happen is the defensive midfield may actually be fine. But because they don't have a Sadio Mane, and so much pressure is going to be put on Salah, who's also going to be missing in AFCON in January, that might be the reason. Because let's be real, Liverpool won that 99-point season. Van Dijk was amazing. The team was amazing. Salah was amazing. Sadio Mane's goals won the most points for Liverpool that season. Diaz is amazing. Darwin Núñez doesn't have a first touch and he plays like a truck driver, but he's pretty good. He's getting better. But I think that if you have the truck driver in Darwin Núñez and Luis Diaz there, do they have that kind of clutch gene, that gid gene that Mane has? I don't think so. So I think what they're missing is that Sadio Mane season where you're going to come clutch, key, step up, because it can't all rely on Salah. So can Núñez, Diaz, and other guys step up? I don't know. So
I hear what you're saying, Hapo, but when you look at it in context, Salah will only miss, I think, 3 or 4, maybe 3 league games. I think FA Cup, you have 2 fixtures in the FA Cup within January as well. I don't think it will be that detrimental to us. I feel like Diaz, Núñez, Diaz, Núñez, Jota, and Gakpo, I think that quartet is enough to get us by in that January period. I can't remember the fixtures we have. I do believe I have 1 or 2 tricky fixtures, but I feel like that will be enough. If Salah was to come back injured now, then that opens up a whole can of worms. But I disagree. I still think our defense can be our Achilles heel, because a Konate or Van Dijk injury away from a Gomez or Matip coming in, which I'm not in big favour of. Yes, they've been great servants. They've won everything, but they're not good enough for me to put us all the way to the end of the season. But I do agree with you. I do feel it's going to add pressure onto our quartet, but I think we'll be fine in January. I think Salah will come back. And then as long as we invest into the squad as well, I think we'll be fine till the end of the season. We'll go right to the wire.
Yeah, look, I think you guys will be all right. I think what's interesting, though, is comments. It's one of these things. Refereeing decisions are dominating games at the minute, and rightfully so. And this is facts from Roms, but 10 men Liverpool still beat Everton or Neverton. The thing is, I've seen, even on Twitter, when I sort of tweeted out that I'm expecting now to see a lot of Liverpool fans not stand up for Everton, but come out and say it's wrong. I was very surprised to not see Good Morning Britain talking about that decision this time around and everything else. But I actually had so many Liverpool fans message me and just say, but Everton wouldn't have won anyway, so why does it matter? And this is the problem when it comes to these refereeing decisions. It's the results shouldn't matter. It shouldn't. Everton should still have complained about that if they went on to win, because we need these refereeing decisions to get better. Liverpool, look, we're the better team overall. I don't think anybody would say they didn't deserve to win. But the problem you have is when it isn't a level playing field. And you're right, Ashley Young had to be sent off. 110%. It was there. But for Konate not to get the same, essentially the same red card for 2 yellows, it could have been a different outcome. And we'll never know now because we were robbed of that by the referees not following. And I think the most sickening part about it, and I did say this on Saturday, and I meant it's another dark day for football, is Howard Webb, during the international break, said that the referee made a conscious decision in City versus Arsenal to not send Kovacic off for 2 yellows because he didn't want to have a negative impact upon the game. First game back, 2 yellow card offences from Ashley Young, because it's not perceived as big or as a pivotal game in the league title race. They go, yeah, we'll do that then, and then we'll send you off, which again ruins the integrity of the game straight away in its entirety. But then for 30, 40 minutes later, to not then level it up by sending Konate off, for me, it's, again, this is not a dig at Liverpool. Liverpool have not cheated. Liverpool have done nothing wrong. And I said the same thing when they got cheated against Spurs. But it just sours the game for me because it becomes the focus again because of the inconsistencies from the referees. And that is a little harsh on Liverpool, and I understand that. But this needs, my biggest problem is I saw there was nowhere near as much energy for that situation as there was the Spurs Liverpool one. And yes, you could argue they actually followed the protocol. This is not following the rules as far as I'm concerned. But yeah,
maybe we should have a replay, Terry.
No, I mean replay should never really happen. You know, heat at the moment. No, I know you are. But I've heard people call Liverpool fans out for that, and so you can't. Otherwise, you're never going to finish the season because there's always going to be reasons. But what it needs, and for a play to Jurgen Klopp came out and said, you know, we were lucky and we got away with this one, and I think that needs to happen more with managers, and fans have got cotton on as well. We'll get onto Arsenal later, but the amount of Liverpool fans take it personally. Well, why are you trying to take that win away from us? And we're not trying to take a win away from you. The same as I weren't trying to take a win away from Spurs 4 weeks ago. I'm trying to get refereeing decisions to be more consistent, because if we don't and we just allow these things to continue, we're all going to get screwed at some point. And sometimes you might only lose 3 points, but some of you, just like Tottenham, you might lose trophies, major trophies.
What makes it worse as well, yeah, Terry, just to add to that, is the fact that Klopp took him off like straight after.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. The thing
took him off, bro.
Even if Klopp didn't come out after the game and say, look, we got away with one, his action within the game indicated that he knew we had got away with one. He literally subbed him straight away. But one thing I will say, Terry, we're quick to criticize our refs, and I do think we have some of the worst refs in the world, but I feel like there was a bit of consistency this weekend, because you look at, for me, I know we're going to get onto Arsenal and Chelsea later. For me, Sanchez should have got sent off. But then Onana didn't get sent off in the first game against Wolves. So there's a bit of consistency there. And for me, the handball, the Saliba handball, the Michael Keane handball, and also the McTominay, there was quite an element of consistency in this particular weekend.
No, and I agree. And this is the thing. Like, that's you see. These arguments where people go subjectivity. That word subjectivity has got to be banned, because subjectivity only counts when you don't have facts and data. And at the end of the day, when it comes to those handballs, we now know what's given and what isn't. So there's no longer any subjectivity other than distance. That's the only element in there now. Any handballs like that, we've got enough data and enough factual evidence of what's given as a handball. So there shouldn't be no more deliberation. There shouldn't be any more subjectivity, because if they look very similar to those, they should just be given. And look, McTominay's, by the way, was really clear. You actually watch it again. He leans into it 100%. I don't like the Saliba handball in terms of, I don't like that rule. How can you jump with your arms by your side like a salmon? It doesn't make any sense.
Did you see, Terry, Redknapp and who else was in the studio with him? Yeah, Hasselbank. Hasselbank was saying, no, we're still a penguin. The Redknapp was like, what, do you expect to jump up like a penguin? And you need your hand kind of for elevation. I think that was a good debate.
But even slide tackles, just watch people do. The irony is, if you watch people slide tackle, make blocks in games, and it doesn't hit their hand, but just watch their arms, they're always up in the air.
Yeah.
Thus, it is a fucking natural position. It's the rules are wrong. However, I want the implementation of those rules to be consistent. You know, it's rules being bad, it doesn't give an excuse for the rules not being followed. And you definitely shouldn't be changing when you give decisions based on the popularity of a game. Because otherwise you end up, certain teams will concede penalties more than others based on who they're playing. And I think that's crazy. We've got some super chats here. First one says, missing Robertson definitely hurt Liverpool. Simicast ain't it going forward. I don't think he's not it at all, is he?
I think it will hurt us long term, but this game in isolation, he had a decent game.